I am Marwan Cameron, and this is the Conduit. Oh yeah, it is Wednesday, April 21. Kitsap Great Give was yesterday. Woo! What a long day. What a good day. Long and good. Definitely had a good time. You know, I haven't had an experience of doing a marathon event like that. I was wiped out after that thing ended. I'm not even going to lie to you. But I'm glad that I did it. I wanted to come on just for a little bit and just say thank you, obviously, to those that put on the Kitsap Great Give. We're honored to be one of those organizations that was represented, as it was our third year. If I could share some of the stats with you, which was pretty awesome here. You can see that there were 9,548 separate gifts, totaling $2,125,000. Let me try reading my numbers better. $2,125,104 raised. So that is a lot of money that came into the county. Of that, donations to G2 were $690. So we definitely appreciate that very much. We thank everyone who donated. That was awesome. And I got to say, thank you, again to my board, to whom without them, G2 wouldn't exist. And, I didn't get a chance to go through every single person and speak about them individually yesterday. I'll do that at another time and kind of, pick up where I left off. I'll probably just start over and do everyone over. But, the board has been fantastic. I appreciate them, believing in me and following me in the vision and helping to make that vision not only a reality, but taking it beyond, what we originally set out for G2 to do and to become. So, again, shout out to Rob and Stephanie and Shaylin, Drayton, Diana, Naja, Raymond, Marlon, Roderick. Man, I hope I'm not leaving out a board member. That's not good if I leave one out. There's been so many. But yes, I thank all of you. I appreciate everyone who came on to the podcast yesterday. Reverend Ellington coming on and sharing his thoughts. It was an interesting time that we would have the Great Give, at the same time as the, Chauvin case verdict. So, lots of things going on in the world at the same time, and life goes on. But at the same time, you've got to stop and recognize, the good and the bad. So, I appreciate him coming on. I appreciate, former, folks that have come through G2, receiving services, but also being able to provide services to other folks. So, shout out to Cherry, and shout out to, all the others that came on. Kendra, for sure, who is, they're still G2, but, you kind of, when you come through G2, you kind of always G2. But thank you, to you guys for coming on and listening to your stories. Definitely very impactful, and I think helps to reinvigorate the team, to continue on and do the work. I also want to thank, the men that came on toward the end. Again, I think this is very powerful. I think this is not only what Kitsap needs, but nationwide. Our Black men need to step up, and not to say that we haven't, but I believe that we can collaborate even more so. As I said before, power isn't given, power is taken. If anyone gives you something, then it wasn't yours to begin with, and they can take it back whenever they want. So it is really up to you to create spaces and then sustain those spaces and grow those spaces. And so, as you know, young AJ has an endeavor that he wants to take on, and You can see here in the image there, you've got myself and Drayden. You've got Neil up in the right hand with his arms folded, which he had another guest that was on his camera a little bit later on. You had Chuck over there to the left, middle, AJ in the center. You've got Eric to the right of him. Oops. Sorry, below that, you have Daryl, and to the right, you have Rick. Okay. And that was just one snapshot of everyone that came on that had a very deep conversation, a very impromptu conversation. None of this stuff was scripted yesterday. It literally was, Drayton and I had a conversation. He said, I love the Jerry Lewis telethon, and we should do it. We should come on and do that. So it was like, okay, brother, but it's like two days before the event. And it's like, all right, well, you make an agenda and then share it with me, and then we'll kind of go. And so he called me the day before, or he called me that morning. It was like, oh no, it was the night before. And he said, well, you didn't send me over an agenda. I'm like, I've been too busy to come up with an agenda for, 12 hours of content. I didn't get to it. And then there was an emergency the morning of. So, it was like, look, we're just going to go live and, have conversations, and we'll invite people on, and what is. And so, sometimes things are better organically. And I had a lot of fun. Like I said, I was tired, but I couldn't have imagined it, working out better, people coming on and sharing what they thought. Shout out to Tiffany and Mina, and I'm just looking at some people in the chat. I see Bailey. Who else is in there? What's interesting is I can't read them both because I'm only looking at Facebook and YouTube. So another thing too is, we had almost, over 40 views on Facebook and very close to 50 views on YouTube. I don't know about Twitch or LinkedIn, but, to have so many people tune in on such a long event was pretty awesome. So when I woke up today, I was like, wow, it's pretty surprising. A lot of people tuned in. So, I appreciate that. Appreciate the support. And again, to circle back to my board, the things that they said about me, it's hard to hear. And, I had a conversation with Drayden earlier today. And one of the things that he was saying is that you have to, and it's so funny because it was something that I told my dad when he was still alive. So my dad, he would not allow us to really do anything for him, right? And so, we go out to lunch, or we go out to dinner, or go out to breakfast, because Pops loves to eat. So we go out, and you go to pay the bill. It's like, hey, I'm grown. I want to buy lunch for you, Dad. I love you. I appreciate you. And I want to do this for you. Oh no, son, you keep your money. You spend that on Layla. You do what you got to do. So that was always my dad's thing. And so I had to think about how to outsmart my dad. So what I started doing is when we'd come in to a restaurant, I say, hey, Dad, I need to go to the bathroom really quick. And I'd go and find the waitress and give her my my credit card. And I say, okay, look, you got the card. Doesn't matter what we ordered, just charge it, right? So at the end of the meal, I'm just sitting there, like I ate what was it? You ate the bird or whatever, the bird in the bird cage. And I'm just smiling. I can't wait to finish the meal. So the check comes, and he goes, and so I go to reach for it. Oh no, son, I got it. I was like, all right, Dad, go ahead. And he opens it up, and my debit card is there, and it's already been ran. And it's like, oh, son, you got me. So the thing is the lesson in that, and what I tried to tell my dad was, it's really important that you allow people to show you and thank you for how you make them feel, right? Like it's not fair if you are just the one that's providing things to people, but people aren't then in turn to do that for you. And so it's so interesting because I would be so frustrated with my dad on it, and then I became him. So it's awkward for me to hear words of praise or affirmation from other folks, because I feel like, that's what I'm supposed to do, right? So you don't need to thank me for, what is essentially, I believe, is my purpose or my job. that I do. So, I have to get better at that. Um, so, I want to say thank you to everyone. And I do really appreciate that. Um, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Uh, yeah, I think that that's really it. So, I've had a chance to be pretty reflective for most of the day. I usually do that on New Year's Eve. So, as many of you know that have kind of watched us on Facebook over the years, on New Year's Eve, I usually hand mop, G2, because that's how I was raised again by my dad. Is a clean floor is one that you mop on your hands and knees, and it's kind of bringing in the new year in a clean space. And so it's great. Everyone is gone. They're celebrating with their families. They're doing whatever they want to do for New Year's Eve. And for me, it's a time of reflection of another year that we are closing out. I can think of, what went well, what I'd like to do better, um, where I really messed up and need to really get better on. And then thinking about, the future and what direction, G2 should grow and some of the things that I want to do from a personal growth standpoint. And so I really like that. And so here this is, here in April, I just did that 4 months ago. And so much has actually happened in 4 months to G2. And so, it was good to just kind of be reflective today, kind of have some post conversations and just kind of be in my thoughts. Very lucky I didn't have a lot of meetings today. So I just spend time, doing some deep cleaning, which is a great way to, kind of focus on, you know, thoughts. It's not necessary. I don't think it's like meditation because I think you're supposed to be silent and still. Um, but it is a great opportunity for me to be thoughtful and reflective and think on the words that were said by everyone, both talking about G2 and what it meant to them, either as a provider or a receiver of services, a giver of services, um, and people that know me personally. And then hearing the conversations of the men talking about current issues, talking about what they're doing, and just their impact that they're making in the lives of others, and that is to be definitely respected and spotlighted. I think we need to acknowledge that, especially with all the things that are going on in the world. I think that's critical that we do that, and so I'm really happy to have had this opportunity to do that. Um, and so I look forward to thinking about what I'm going to do next because I want to take every opportunity to get better and improve. And so there's definitely some things that I believe I can do to do just that. So, that is my intent. I don't know exactly what it is yet. I think I need to do a little bit more thought. I know we have the projects that I talked about that we're going to do. I know that I want to keep going forward with bringing people together and finding ways and creating spaces for people to collaborate. I think that is, I think that's critical and crucial right now. And emotions run high. People have their different thoughts on how things should be done. There's history where people have trust that has been eroded or destroyed. Um, and even in a conversation that I was having earlier today, I even have to check, myself and understand that I may feel a certain way about someone or how something is done. And I can get caught up in the minutia of that and the detail of that. Uh, or I can keep my focus on my purpose. So I think it's a situation where I needed to take my own advice. And so, as I shared yesterday, I need to have that sheet of paper and look down and say, is what I'm doing right now serving the purpose? Um, and at the end of it, I think I would say yes. because you are human and you have to be able to talk through what's on your mind and what you're feeling, even if you need to discuss it and work through it and then decide um, that you need to, put it away, move past it, let it go, take action on it, whatever the case may be. It's okay for you to live in that space so that you can get it out and process it, but then you need to go ahead and process it and move on. And so that's what I took from the conversation. I know I'm a very passionate person, as a lot of people are. Uh, and when I feel a certain way, I feel a certain way. One of the things that I am working on, and I hope that others might be doing this also, is being reflective and, stepping back and truly asking the question, is what you're doing, is how you're feeling serving your purpose? And how can you go forward and with whatever that situation is or whatever that thought is, and still serve your purpose and not let that become an obstacle in serving your purpose, right? And when I think back on the particular situation that I'm thinking about, because there's one in particular, I think that I have done a good job in that. I haven't interjected myself into the situation. I haven't tried to manipulate the situation into one outcome or into a negative outcome. Actually, the things that I've done in the background have been to, support those efforts. So, in that sense, I think I'm on the right path. And I do that. We talk often about, treat people the way that you want to be treated, and that's it's cliche. I don't think it's always accurate. Sometimes you need to treat people the way that they want to be treated and not how you want to be treated. But that takes getting to know a person and understanding that. um, but I think that I've been doing, my behavior has been such that I haven't let that get into my way or cloud my judgment, or block any potential blessings that I have. Now, I think the what you often may do is kind of remove yourself from a situation, because it's the best thing to do. Sometimes they say if you don't have something good to say about someone, don't say anything at all. Sometimes I kind of feel like it's might be the opposite, depending on the situation. I might actually speak, extra well of that person, uh, and maybe hope for the best or hope that they can change their ways or go forward. So, just kind of thoughts that are going through my mind. Like I said, just kind of processing things. But I kind of wanted to share that with you, and again, that's kind of what has part of what has come from yesterday's marathon telethon of G2 and poverty management. So, thank you to poverty management and Drayton Jackson, and Diana Sullivan, and all the crew over there. Again, thank you the board, G2, all of the folks that have come through G2 over the last years. Thank all the collaborators. We sent a shout out yesterday to many of the organizations that we work with, and then of course, the men that came onto the panel at the end and had a conversation. I want to thank them also, and everyone in the chat for sure. It's been 3 years and 4 months, and it's so funny that Drayton is like, oh, it's been 7 years. It's like 7 years. It hasn't been 7 years, man. But it's interesting. It's like 7 years. That would be more than double the time that we've been around. So it's interesting to think about where G2 will be in 7 years, and what we can accomplish. And I hope that is what is said is that there are more stories of people who have had their lives changed positively, for the better, and then that they are able to go forward and um, work to progress in their self-sufficiency. But it's to a benefit to their children, their immediate family, their extended family, and then to the community, because it is something that I want to spread, whether or not those folks ever themselves step into the building of G2. But if they have had that experience of working with G2, they can take the good and go forth and multiply the good in that way. That is truly my hope. So with that, I'm going to work on keeping some of these a little bit shorter. I can go down a rabbit hole on my own in a conversation. But yeah, I just want to jump on and talk about post Kitsap Great Give and say thank you to everyone. Obviously, our hope is that we're here next year. Again, you can always still donate through the website, or you can call into the office. I do know 100% of the proceeds go to the operation of G2 to provide services to those in need. You can also earmark your donation for specific things in the community. So, like, say you want to donate, a number of rides for folks, or you want to donate meals, or you want to donate whatever it may be, right? To get certifications or IDs or whatever it is, right? You can do all that. And so we're here for that. And so we're definitely appreciative. We thank you, and we hope to see you next year. All right now.